Hello everyone, welcome to Lighthouse Stamping with Lorraine. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Vancouver, Washington. Thank you for joining me today. Before we get started, all the housekeeping notes, all the product I use, and all the dimensions are listed below. There's a link to my online store if you wish to purchase any of these products. There is a link to our Facebook group. We'd love to have you join that. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe on YouTube and help me grow in YouTube world. So today we're going to be playing with everyday details, and I have pulled out circle sayings because I wanted the happy birthday. Now, everyday details is staying in, carrying over to the new catalog, but the bundle price will not. So if you want to get this set after watching this, please go to my online store, and you can get that with 10% off until the 30th of April. Unfortunately, circle sayings is leaving us. Now, it came in a bundle with the 2 3/8 circle punch. The punch is carrying over and it will be on the online exclusive. So we're going to say goodbye to that one. We're keeping this one. So before I show you what we're making, it's a beautiful set. I wanted to show you the dies, because one of the first things we need to do is die cut. These dies cut this one here. These cut up really beautiful borders. This one here is double, and it will cut dots on what, cut this piece out and leaves you with a frame. And you'll also see this, and then there's single ones here that go down, they all layer. And there's this one that's like, and this one does the same thing as this one. And this is the one we're going to be using so you can see how it works. It'll cut a frame, leave a frame with the border, and cut the piece out with the border. And we're going to use the piece that we cut out. But we could save the other one for something else. So I wanted to pull that out so you can see all the dies. And I'm going to get a little cranky here because the first thing we need to do is die cut this, and we need to stamp so we can do our blends. And oh, I should show you what we're making today. We're doing a little stitching on our card. This is the card we're making. That's very pretty, and I got to do all the stitching. I'm going to show you, this is so simple, but I think it adds so much to the card. And very simple inside with some mats. So what we need is some plates for little cranky here. And we need a piece of cardstock, which I know I took out here. Just one moment. There it is. 3 inches by 3 inches. You can run this through either machine. I did do some embossing on the one card layer, and I ran it through the large machine, but I did that before we come. So now, when you cut this, you're going to have lots and lots of tiny little dots. So let me take this out of the way. Now I have, see, I was playing with it. This is a case you can buy in the catalog, and this is the foam that comes with your scrubby to get pieces out of dies. So when I lift this off, you're going to see all of those little dots stuck in there. And what I do is I do it in here, and I just do this little thing, and it gets most of them out. But I'm not going to fool with this right now, but that's how it works. I will deal with it later. You don't need to sit and watch me drop little dots out everywhere because they fall out. So here is the piece it cuts out, or cuts into, so you cut into a card, and this is the piece you're left with. So I'll save that for something else. Pick up a few of these that fell out. So be prepared to vacuum after doing this die, but I love them. They're really cool. So what we need to do is we need to get this stamped with Memento really fast. Not too fast, but you know what I mean. And we're going to use the teacup. And I want to stamp this with Memento because I want to let this sit for just a couple minutes before we color it. Stamp that and let that sit. And yes, this is a brand new Memento, so it's very juicy. But while we're letting that sit, we're going to build some of the other pieces to the card. So for the front of the card, I have a piece of Moody Mauve that is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. Then I have 2 pieces of Bubble Bath at 4 and 5 1/4. This one's for the inside, and this one I've embossed, and I've embossed it with the Basics embossing folder. It's on the online where you can get the 3 and it has like the little flower in there. So we're going to go ahead and glue these in. Sorry about the chimes, the wind's blowing. Like that. I'm going to go ahead and stick the inside piece in now. It's always wise to let your Memento dry for a few minutes, especially if it's really juicy ink pad. Anytime, but especially when it's that juicy. Especially if you're going to be using light colors like I'm going to be. So we have that. And then for the front of the card, I have a piece of, this is from the Poetic, what's it called? Poetic Expressions. It's this one here. It's 3.5 by 4 3/4. Not your typical sizes, but I didn't want typical. Put that there. So you get about a 1/2 inch border. And then I have a piece for the inside that's 3.5 by 4 3/4. And we need to stamp on that. And there is a verse that says, "Wishing you so much joy on this special day." And we're going to stamp that in Memento. Just like that. And I'll leave that open for a minute. And we'll let that sit because, well, I've got the ink open. I need a scrap of white. I don't need that big a scrap of white. Let's get a smaller piece of scrap of white because I want to stamp this lovely happy birthday. Just like that one. Okay, and while we're playing with this, let's go ahead and get our punch out, which I know is here. This is our double oval punch. It is also retiring. I'm afraid to say you'll probably see me using it because, as you may know, I do use this a lot. I love this stamp, and I'm not putting him away. Just because it retires doesn't mean we have to put it away, and I know many of you have this stamp. And then I'm going to take the big one and cut one of the scalloped ones out of Bubble Bath. So we'll go ahead and glue those 2 on. And let's go ahead and glue the inside in here, and then we'll get to our coloring. Actually, while I've got the glue out, these are the same dimensions as the outside because I want to sort of replicate without the embossing. Well, we got, oh, we'll do that in a minute. Actually, we're going to do it now. This is our envelope. I'm going to put a piece of the DSP on the back. Just so you know, the Poetic Expressions DSP is not carrying over. I should tell you that. Out of that bundle, the stamp set is carrying over, but those beautiful dies are not. And I'm looking for my seal. So, and I'm just going to put seal. You can use glue, but I think seal does work better on an envelope. It doesn't leave it too wet. Sticks really well too. And I'm just going to take this piece. This is 6 inches by 1 3/4. just like that. Grab my snips. I don't worry about this little piece overhanging. It does not bother me, and it seems not to bother the postman. So we won't worry about that. So there's the envelope for this card. Now we'll set all that off to the side. I'm not centered a little bit. Just a second here. Oh, it's close enough for me. I'm going to be putting a bow there anyhow. All right, so the first thing we need to do is we need to color this before we can stitch it. So I am using Balmy Blue, Granny Apple Green, Bubble Bath, and Lemon Lolly. It's pretty basic coloring. I'm going to move the camera in a little bit so you can see me color a little better. I'm going to start with the dark Balmy Blue, or not the blue, sorry, pink. Not the dark. There we go. And I'm going to start with my nib on this one. I'm just adding dark color here. I'm going to add the dark back here. This little spot right there. Right around this piece and right here. And then I'm just going to take and do all these lines with the dark. Then I'm going to come in with the light. Just blend in that a little bit. Now this flower, you can go right over it because it's solid. So it doesn't matter. It's just when you get over to the leaves, you need to be a little more careful. I'm leaving it a little lighter in the center. We'll come back and add a little more dark in there. And go ahead and put the light on the handle. Oop, gotta get back in there, sorry. When you're coloring, you have a tendency to go back with more dark on the back of the cup. Oh, I forgot a spot. We'll come back and get that. See where I forgot? Right there. And then I'm going to come in here with a little more dark along the base, up the sides. A little bit more down here. I don't always do a lot of blending. I'm going to put a little bit more dark up here and a little dark here. I usually don't do a lot of blending. I usually keep it very simple, and I'm still keeping it pretty simple. And I'm just coming back with my light. I'm going to go here and hit this little light I missed before. I just want to blend this in a little better. Leave it a little lighter in the center. And a little bit more around here. And I'm satisfied with my cup there. Next, I'm going to use Balmy Blue. I'm going to start with the dark, the nib. And I'm not getting into the center. I'm just going around where these little lines. They give us the lines for a reason. Should be darker, like that. And then I'm going to come in here and add the light. I guess I'm not going to get too fancy with this. And then I'm coming in with the dark Lemon Lolly for the center. And lastly, I'm coming in with the dark Granny Apple Green. Putting a little dark where the veining is. And I'm going to come in with the light. And that, oh, I missed a little piece of blue. Just one moment here. I don't know if you can see it, but I see it, and it'll bother me. A little bit right there. And that's my cup. Now, we have linen thread and different stuff, but I wanted something. I actually did it with the yellow, the trio. I didn't bring it out, but I did it originally with the trio, the yellow. But when I started picking out the paper, I didn't like the coloring. So you see that there. So I decided to look for something else. Now I am a cross-stitching person. I do a lot of cross-stitching. And so I have a lot of floss. And this happens to be DMC 316, which matches the Moody Mauve almost perfectly. So if you have any kind of thread that you want to use, will work. You could use just regular bobbin thread. You just probably have to put like 3. This is 6 layers. I did not pull it apart. So it's up to you what you want. Like I said, linen thread would work. The twine would work. I used the yellow twine is what I originally did. So I'm going to leave this in here, and I'm going to try to keep my hands in here so you guys can see what I'm doing. And I put a very long piece on here. I'm going up into, it doesn't matter which hole you're going to. Now you can sit here and hold this if you want. But a piece of Scotch tape on the back, and then you don't have to worry about it, you losing your tension, okay? Now you don't want to pull hard or anything here. You're just threading through. So you're going down through the next hole, and you're going to come up the next one like this, and then you're going to go back. And now every time you go through, you're going to this hole here and back down the one you just came through. It's just a simple back stitch. And you just keep on going around. Don't pull hard. You just want a nice tension on it. This way I don't have to worry about holding it with the Scotch tape. And we're just going to go around this. It doesn't take but a few minutes. I thought about doing this ahead, and I thought, no, some people may not know how to do this. If you don't have any embossing thread, but you want something that really matches whatever paper you decide to use, go to any craft store that sells, Michael's, Joann's, they all sell it. Lots of places sell crochet thread, or not crocheting thread, floss for doing cross stitch or embroidery. Take your paper, just go down the line. As I have like 5 boxes of different colors of thread, and I just took the paper, went down it until I found colors that came close and found the one that worked the best. But this would work on any of these dies. And I know it does take a minute. If you're thirsty, go get a drink of water or your favorite beverage, depending what time it is day. And it will take me a second to go around here. And I will just keep going. Like I said, it's not that hard. But I thought this is just a really beautiful accent you can add to your cards. And it doesn't take that long. This is something you do sitting in front of the TV. That's what I did with the other one. Just make sure you don't wrap and occasionally, if you get a little knot, just go like this and I'm just letting it hang. Sorry, it's close. I'm just letting it hang and unwind. I'm leaving it so you can see what I'm doing. And I will try to speed this up, but I don't want to. But you don't pull hard on this because it is paper you're sewing on. And if you have young children, not too young because this is a sharp needle, but 7 or 8, and they like to do crafts, this is not bad. You can get dull needles, and dull needle work just fine. This is something you could get the kids to do as well. Get your down loose, just hold your paper and just pull a little bit. So I'm holding here and just pulling my thread out a little bit. Now, if you don't cut your thread long enough, you can just tape it off and start another piece of thread. No one's going to know. Oop. But yeah, they have dull plastic needles for kids that, just make sure it's skinny enough to go through the hole. Good kid project. Good project for you're sitting in front of the TV. We're almost there. I think it just adds something really beautiful on this. I know I'm getting quiet as I'm sewing. I'm trying to concentrate so I can speed up. So is everybody ready for the new catalog? I am. So unfortunately, I can't show you the new catalog. I did place an order for my supplies on Tuesday. My stuff out of the new catalog. I didn't go to on stage, so I couldn't do a pre-order. I had to wait until the pre-order started on the 2nd. So as soon as I get my product, we'll start looking at that. I'm just holding this up again and spinning it because my thread was twisting on me. So once we get that new pre-order, then I'll start sharing some of the new product. But in the meantime, I've got lots of product that I haven't used yet. Like this set I've had since January and haven't used it. Oop. We're almost to the end. Okay, the back looks like that. Up through the last one. Back down. There's our thing. If a couple threads are loose, it's fine. They'd sometimes twist their thread. We'll flip this over. I'm just leave the needle and everybody attached yet. And I'm going to grab another piece of tape, just like that, and snip it off. Make sure you put your needle somewhere safe. If you're going to go back to it, I just do that. So I make sure I know where it's at, especially if you have children or kittens or puppies. And let's move this back up. So there's our beautiful little medallion we're going to put on our card. Okay, so we've got the inside done. Now it's just time to do the outside, which is pretty easy. We're going to put this on. We're going to put this on. We are going to make a beautiful little bow. I didn't make it ahead of time. This is the sheer ribbon combo pack. It's also retiring. So if you really like these colors, which I love this thread, it ties so nicely. Let's see, I don't want too big a bow. That looks pretty good. Yeah, that's twisted the wrong way. Just a second here. I'm just getting this twisted back around, about like that. So let's get some dimensionals. And we're going to tape this up. Now don't try to glue this down because this has got quite a lip here. You got a lot of thread there. You definitely want to use dimensionals on this layer. I mean, you could try to glue it down, but I think it would be rather bulky to do so. And I'm using quite a few because I wanted to make sure it holds up good. Okay. All right. I'm going to put this down right there. And I know my happy birthday's a little crooked, but I'm not going to worry about it because I'm going to put a pretty bow right about there. Off or on. I think I'm going to put, actually, I'm going to put it just off here. Yeah, about like that. Grab a glue dot. Looking for my tools. I don't know why every time I sit down, things just disappear off. Now the glue dot's stuck on my finger. And we're going to pop him here. We can put him up top, but I'm going to mail this one, so I'm going to put it down low to keep my... There we go. And I wanted some bling. And this is the Iridescent Rhinestones Basic Jewels, which go with everything. They're also retiring. So I think I'm going to put this one down here this time. And I think I'm going to take 2 mediums. and put them like that. And that is my stitched card. So I hope you enjoyed that. And if you've never done stitching on a card, I think you should give it a try. You can, if you don't have this stamp set, which I think you should because it's really pretty. And those dies are carrying over for another year, so that makes it really nice, worth having too. They work, you don't have to do stitching. You put layers of paper behind and different things, but I like the stitching on this. But if you don't have this, or you want a certain shape, and let's say you have a hot, let's say we have this. If we punch this out of a piece of cardstock, hang on, I'm going to show you. A little added bonus here today. So you have something, a shape, a design. It doesn't have to be punched out. It could be in a solid piece or whatever. This is what a piercing mat's for, besides stamping on. What you do is you take a piercing tool, this one, or this one actually would work better because it's bigger, and figure out where you want your holes. And you poke holes in gently. You put your holes in where you want to go. Actually, you know, either one you want. I'm just using this one because it's easier on my hands. You put your holes in. You want to work from the front, not the back, because the back will be hard. And then you can stitch all these and make a design going around something if you wanted. Stitching on a card, you can do it any way you want. But this one, they just made it easy because it already has the holes. I think it heard me say it was going to be retired and it doesn't want to lock now. There it goes. It's throwing a fit. So, if you have any questions about doing stitching or anything like that on a card, just drop me an email and I will answer all your questions. And if you want to know how to do more about piercing and stamping, sewing, let me know and I can show you other projects. So, thank you for joining me, and everybody have a wonderful Friday. Goodbye.